Hey, real quick before we start, I just wanted to say thank you. I just passed 5,000 subscribers during this holiday break. When I started my channel in April, I set a goal for I want 200 subscribers by the end of the year. And I've just passed 5,000. So I want to thank everyone that's liked, subscribed, people that are commenting. This is way more than I expected. So thank you for watching, and let's get to the top 10 of 2014. Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic. I'm Adam Ryan Daniels, and today I'm covering my 10 favorite movies from 2014. Now when I say favorites and when I say top 10, my criteria is really movies that I enjoyed. So my favorites may not be what are the best made films or the best performances, but they're my favorites. They cross all sorts of genres, all sorts of different popularity levels. So you may agree with me, you may disagree with me, but these are my top 10. My personal criteria is, do I want to watch them again? Are the performances worthwhile? Are the actors stretching their capabilities? And is this a movie that I found myself suggesting to others and making sure that they went and saw? So based on that, I've got 10 that I want to talk about. I do have a couple honorable mentions that did not make the top 10. I've got two. The first one is the first 5-star rating that I gave this year, and that was for a movie called Draft Day. Draft Day is a Kevin Costner movie in which he's a kind of manager for a NFL team, and it's the day of the draft, and they have to kind of get new players. And being a non-sports enthusiast, I love this movie. It reminded me of Moneyball in that aspect. Very enjoyable, but didn't quite crack the top 10. The other movie came out similarly, I think in like February, and that was the Lego Movie. Super fun, enjoyable. It pleased both adults and kids alike, but when compared to these other movies on the list, this one just didn't stick around. Before we start, there's also some movies that I did not see. The two that come to mind that most people are going to be like, where are they? Are Boyhood, never really came to a theater nearby me, and then The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch also didn't really come near me. So, out of the 64 movies that I watched and reviewed on I'mYourTargetDemographic.com, out of the 64 movies, what are the 10 that I think you need to see? So let's start with number 10. In number 10, we have the newest Keanu Reeves movie, John Wick. Now, John Wick is an action movie, kind of going back to Keanu's roots, reminds me a lot of The Matrix. Very innovative stunt work, combat work. It's a very cool story, set in a fictional world where assassins and killers kind of exist, and but it gives them this really cool world to live in, and it has a really cool combat style of what they call gun fu, which is like kung fu with guns. It's colorful, vibrant, very exciting to watch, and highly underrated, and something that I enjoyed a lot. So John Wick. Number 9. Here we have a movie called Chef. Chef is written by, directed by, and starring Jon Favreau, who directed movies like Elf, Iron Man 2. This movie feels like his passion project, that it's him starring as a chef who kind of gets tired of the restaurant scene, he gets fired from his job, and he decides to start a food truck business. So it's kind of him traveling across the country with his son that he doesn't really connect with a lot, but it's kind of them coming together. There's some really cool music. It's very colorful and vibrant, and the food looks amazing. It's just a very kind of feel-good movie. I do believe it's going to be releasing on Netflix in January, so if you want to see it, that'll be your chance. But it's a really fun movie if you want something a little more lighthearted, so check out Chef. Number 8. Here we have Wild, the based on a true story movie with Reese Witherspoon. She stars as a woman named Cheryl Strayed, who walked the Pacific Coast Trail from Southern California basically all the way up through Washington. And I went in with super low expectations. I mean, how exciting could a woman just walking up the coast be? But it's really engaging and really interesting. And her performance is no doubt going to get some Oscar nominations. She's incredible. And in comparison to her walking, there's also a probably more interesting flashback series kind of telling you why she's doing this, what happened, and some really great performances, most notably by Laura Dern as her mother. So Wild, it's still in theaters now, if you're watching this video when it comes out. Definitely worth going and seeing. Number 7. Number 7 on our list is a movie called The Edge of Tomorrow, or on DVD, Live, Die, Repeat, or the graphic novel All You Need Is Kill. There's a lot of names. But the point is, Edge of Tomorrow is a really interesting and fun movie. The basic gist is that it's a war with alien invaders, and we have no idea how they demolished us so quickly. And a traitor, kind of coward, is sent to war, and that's Tom Cruise. And he ends up infected by something that allows him to die and then wake up the next, kind of the same morning. So he's basically living over and over again. So he kind of uses this tactic to learn about the war, to train to be a warrior, and attempt to save the world. So it kind of takes this Alien versus Groundhog Day idea, but makes it something really interesting. I enjoyed it, some people didn't, but it kind of flew under everyone's radar, so if you get a chance, check out Edge of Tomorrow. And while Tom Cruise is pretty awesome in this movie, it's really Emily Blunt that steals the show. So there's some great performances, great action scenes, and the movie is well worth your while. Number 6. Here we have the Jake Gyllenhaal crime thriller Nightcrawler. In probably one of the best performances of the year, we see Jake Gyllenhaal as this kind of down on his luck guy that turns to crime, like videotaping crime and getting stuff for the morning news, but he's trying to do this as a profession, and he crosses a line where he starts to kind of tamper with crime scenes. He gets way too involved in stuff. It's a really creepy, dark movie, but it's an incredible performance. Probably not a movie I would watch again, but it's one of those movies I feel like you need to watch at least once. So great performances. Nightcrawler is just a dark masterpiece, so check it out. Number 5, Gone Girl. Now, I don't want to say too much about Gone Girl because so much of it is you not knowing anything and going in and being completely blown away by it and being completely surprised. So if you haven't heard anything about Gone Girl, you don't know what happens, that's awesome. That means you need to go see it and not know anything. The perfect way to go in is not knowing anything. But what I can tell you is that both Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike deliver. They are amazing. And Rosamund Pike, for sure, hopefully, if all is just with the world, is going to get some nominations. It's a dark movie. It can be a little hard to watch, but David Fincher, who also directed movies like Seven, Fight Club, it's totally him, so if you like other movies by him, you're going to love Gone Girl. But again, don't look up anything, just go and see it. Number 4, probably the movie that most of you have not heard of is something called Snowpiercer. And it came out in like 2 theaters and then went kind of straight to video. And it is streaming now on Netflix if this sounds interesting. The basic gist is, okay, imagine this. Everyone in the world that's alive right now is living on a train, right? Everyone else is dead after this kind of horrible ice age kind of thing. So everyone's living on a train. And at the back of the train, everyone's living in poverty. At the front of the train, everyone is living in luxury. So when the movie starts, we have Chris Evans, Captain America himself, leading a rebellion to kind of take over the front of the train. So the whole movie is cabin by cabin, them kind of going through and rebelling against this kind of government. It's interesting, it's unique, I haven't seen anything like it. It's a little dark, but there are moments of a lot of color and splashes of kind of really interesting styles. It's just a fascinating movie, and knowing that a lot of you have Netflix and you're just a button away from watching it, you have zero excuses. So go now and watch Snowpiercer. Number 3, Birdman. Now, Birdman stars Michael Keaton, who played Batman back in the 80s. So it's kind of a self-referential movie because in the movie Michael Keaton plays a actor who played a very successful superhero and is now trying to kind of redeem himself as a credible actor. So it's kind of real, but it's kind of a fictional story. What makes this movie unique is that it's shot in a way that it looks like it's one continuous take, the entire movie. So, which is really interesting, and the soundtrack is composed of basically just drumming, and sometimes you'll see the drummer in these scenes, and then it mixes in kind of the sounds from the scene as music. Like it's just very interesting the way it's shot, the way it sounds, but great performances by Keaton, Edward Norton, Naomi Watts, Zach Galifianakis, Emma Stone. There's some great stuff here. So if you get a chance, Birdman, some of you will like it, some of you won't. It's very artistic. It's one of those movies that you may not understand what's happening, but those of you that just want something cool and interesting and new, Birdman will deliver. Number 2, The Theory of Everything, the biopic of Stephen Hawking, starring Eddie Redmayne as Stephen Hawking. I thought this was not going to be super interesting. This movie is brilliant. That it's gorgeous to watch. James Marsh, who's the director, just is a master. It's brilliant. And then Eddie Redmayne's performance as Stephen Hawking, it's not so much that, yeah, he managed to be Stephen Hawking, but it's the transformation from Stephen Hawking here to Stephen Hawking here. That it's totally believable. You never see the actor. Okay, it feels authentic. And it was just beautiful and interesting to watch. And the science, they tried to make it make sense, and it did. Like, it just covered all sorts of bases, and it worked perfectly. Felicity Jones stars as his kind of wife-to-be Jane, also gives a tremendous performance, probably overshadowed by his, but something that we shouldn't forget about. Both of them put on dynamic performances. So, Theory of Everything, in theaters still. Check it out. And number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, let me defend why this is my movie of the year. When I make this list, and I think about what my criteria are, Guardians of the Galaxy, I was telling everyone to go see. I think I saw it 4 or 5 times, and I was dragging people to go with me. You need to see this. When I think about my expectations and where they met, I had really high expectations for this, and it exceeded all of them. When I think about performances that are outside of what an actor usually does, and I look at Bradley Cooper voicing a raccoon, and it works. And I'm looking at Vin Diesel, and they give him 3 words to say the entire script, and it works. Like, there's just so many things here. I mean, there's the world building that director James Gunn, in every scene, meticulously, I mean, just look at some behind the scenes stuff. Look at the makeup that they did. Look at the set dressing and the props. And the world that they've created here is incredible. And I'm not just saying this because I love Marvel. If you're following my channel, you probably know that. But this movie, beyond that, is just a masterpiece. I love it. So that's why. It's my favorite. It may not be the best movie out this year, but it's my number 1. So that's it. Those are my 10. If there's other movies you would have picked, put them down below. If there's movies you saw and you disagree with, if you're like, no, I saw Birdman, that was weird, write down below. But that's my 10. Now give me yours. So thanks for watching. If you haven't checked out my full blog, I'd recommend going there. I did review, again, 64 movies this year. So if you want to know what's good, what's in theaters, what should you watch, that's the place to go. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. See you soon.